We're going to bring rigour and common sense to the hysteria surrounding climate change. Climate change policies in New Zealand have been driven by a tiny minority with loud voices who have no conception as to what are the consequences of their narrow, shallow ideas on the day-to-day functioning of the economy. For those reasons, Mr. Speaker, whatever work has been happening in the Ministry for the Environment, not unlike Thomas Becket, the meddlesome priest, that is now stopped. The coalition agreement says there will be no more uncertainty as to the role of the ETS as the pivotal, paramount institution guiding us as we make the transition from our current emissions profile to a more sensible and defensible place, but not at the cost of those legacy industries that give us our wealth, our well-being and jobs. So, for those of you buried in the Ministry for the Environment, working away on those policies, that they belong to the old regime that now sit on the other side of the House. Now, of course, the perfidy didn't just stop with ETS. We've got the SNAs. We've got the national policy statements pertaining to biodiversity. They're gone. They will no longer have any legal impact in our rural economy, on our farmers, on our landowners, squashing the bejesus out of people's property rights. Similarly, we will no longer have onerous, unworkable water regulations. Not only unworkable, but completely destructive of the viability of the very industry that is our key contributor in terms of export earnings. 2 national policy statements that will go the way of my dear friend David Parker's magnum opus out the back door, into oblivion. And just to show, Mr. Speaker, that there are other areas that people want me to concentrate on, I am the Minister of Resources. I look forward to leading the debate, changing the law, enabling gas and oil exploration, wealth development to take place yet again in New Zealand. Now, just to ensure that the other side of the House feels that's a little bit unbalanced, mining is coming back as well. We most certainly need those rare earth minerals, and in those areas called the DOC estate where it's stewardship land is not DOC land. And if there is a mineral, if there is a mining opportunity and it's impeded by a blind frog, goodbye freedom. We are going to extract the dividend from Mother Nature's legacy on the DOC estate in those areas previously called stewardship land. Now, why is this important, Mr. Speaker? If we do not have coal and gas continuing to contribute to our power system, we're going to have blackouts, brownouts, we're going to have a power system that lacks security, riddled with risk, and it'll diminish the status of our nation as a first-class, first-world country. This side of the House is not taking that risk. Of course, we'll hear from the other side of the House, but 2030, Jacinda Ardern's aspirational figure, inversely related to reality, the majority of her legacy. That will no longer be the case. We are not going to meet the 2030 dreamy fairy tale aspirational figures that will be freeing ourselves of fossil fuels as a source of generating energy. We're going to deal with reality. We're going to have not only a plan, but we're going to have some certainty for the providers of international capital who are going to help us develop our economy. Because if you look, Mr. Speaker, at what's become of our current account deficit, none of us can be lackadaisical. None of us can continue to spend the way that we have been, as has been evident on the other side of the House. A couple more things. We will have a strategic fast-track piece of legislation in this House. One of the great lies about climate change is that, yes, Apparently it's a crisis. Name me one law that has changed, Mr. Speaker, in the last 9 years, expediting, simplifying investors' ability to navigate the digestive tract, otherwise known as the Resource Management Act, and in a timely fashion secure resource consent, find the money, deliver the project. No one in this House can. With the development of our fast-track bill, where authority will lie with us, the politicians. No more unelected grandees who destroyed the aquaculture ambitions of Murihiku, who caused Ngāi Tahu to squander the thick end of $2 million and not a single bit of kaimoana in the water. How are our regions going to grow, Mr. Speaker, unless we give certainty to investors and hope to the people who want to continue to raise their children in these areas? Go to church, play rugby, netball, support the local businesses. Stand by for the fast-track process where the authority rests with the politicians. Fast-track for aquaculture, fast-track for mining, fast-track for energy, fast-track for infrastructure. That's the future coming in your direction. And people who want to boost productivity and resilience in New Zealand, you could not pick a better champion than my good self. Modesty forbids me to say much more.